Well, to be able to understand the role of oil in our society, we have to look at the sectoral distribution of oil consumption. In other words, where we basically use oil and products. If you go back in 1973, when the oil prices were quite reasonable, 45% of our oil was used in the transportation sector and only 12% in non-energy sectors. These ratios have recently increased to 62 and 70% respectively. This means that today, around 80% of oil is used in only two sectors, transport and petrochemicals. Therefore, any kind of disruption in the supply of oil will definitely ruin our daily lives, and we can neither use our automobiles nor benefit from any other products of oil, such as plastics and nylons and other useful materials. For ages, oil has been very important for us, supplying, together with coal, the cheap energy needed for our economic growth. It has been the major energy source used by human beings since 1965. And since then, it is shared in the world's primary energy consumption increased up to 46%, making it peak in 1973. And afterwards, it began decreasing down to around 30% now. It is today in the process of being replaced by natural gas, basically, which is another important hydrocarbons found commonly together with oil. And altogether, oil and coal, they consist more than half of our energy consumption today. However, one major problem negatively affecting the sustainable future of oil is the diminishing reserves, because it's an exhaustible resource. The production peak of oil, commonly known as Hubbert peak, will be reached very soon, and it has, if not has already passed, of course. And on the other hand, our demand is growing exponentially, especially in the non-OECD countries such as China and India. And another factor that should be considered in oil prices is that how long we can afford to buy these expensive oil. And oil prices varied between $2 to $3 per barrel until 1973, continues to fueling our economies. Then as a result of two oil crashes, it rose rapidly, reaching to $12 per barrel in 1974, then $37 per barrel in 1980. And following a relatively stable period between 1986 and 1988, it began increasing again. And in 2012, and only 3 years ago, the price increased sharply to $111 before it began decreasing down to below $50 per barrel today. What will be the future oil prices, and especially in the post-peak period? And how will the prices affect the supply and demand of the world? These are the two major questions analysts are asking each other today frequently. Can you imagine what our world would like if we ran out of oil in the world? Or we cannot afford to buy this expensive oil, and the lifeblood of our high-tech, high-mobile world won't last forever, definitely. And scarcity of oil reserves, exponentially increasing demand for it, and finally rapid fluctuations of oil prices will definitely be the major challenges of our society in the 21st century.